on this beautiful afternoon of August the 14th. It's a lovely fall day, and we have been invited into the home of Elizabeth Barbara Sorrell to do a little bit of a talking about oral history, because Elizabeth is actually quite special, not just because she's a special person, but Elizabeth is a grand total of 99 years old. And in this day and time, that's quite remarkable. Elizabeth will turn 100 years of age on December the 4th. And in my opinion, she doesn't, December the 3rd, excuse me. And on my opinion, she doesn't look a day over 80. So, Elizabeth, were you born on the farm that you lived on with your parents?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you remember how many brothers and sisters you might have had?
You had one sister and 3 brothers.
Do you remember that?
Yes, I do now.
Okay. Were you a tomboy, or did you more like wanted to do things in the house like a little girl?
Very timid person.
How come you were timid?
I don't know,
Just shy?
because I didn't see anybody.
How
They
come
kept me
that?
at home.
Well, that's probably because they wanted to take good special care of you. What type of chores did you do on the farm? Work?
My mother liked to work outside, so she had me doing inside work,
Okay.
cooking and washing dishes.
Are you a good cook?
Sure,
What do you like to cook the best?
pinto beans.
Oh, pinto beans. I bet they're
We grew
wonderful.
up on them.
Yes, you can live on pinto beans. There's nothing wrong with that. What can you remember about Blanco as a young girl? What it looked like? Anything that you can recall about Blanco being young?
I can remember a lot of people came to town on horses,
Uh-huh.
and they tied them in front of the courtyard.
By the courthouse? Okay. What was the average time that you got to come to town with your family? About how often?
I don't know, once a month.
Mhm. What type of stores can you remember were here in the town?
I think Jack Cage was the top one.
Uh-huh.
August Weber was there somewhere in the middle.
What did he do?
Grocery.
Grocery store?
Mm-hmm.
Had a grocery store.
Yes.
Was there a fabric store? Or was there a place to buy any goods like that?
I really don't know if they had a fabric store or not. I don't remember the name of the store down the corner.
Okay. Did you get to go into the courthouse very often?
No,
Okay.
was no reason to.
No reason to go in there. Do you remember a well being outside of the courthouse? You don't?
No.
Okay. I've heard over the years from different people that there was a well and that it had just about some of the coldest water there was to drink.
I didn't know that.
Was the town a busy place?
I don't think so.
Didn't seem like there was that many people in it at that time. What did you do as you started to become a teenager, what did you do for entertainment? What did the family do?
To entertain?
Yeah, to have fun.
I don't know, we had a music box and I played it a lot.
You did?
Mm-hmm.
What was the music box?
A Victrola, they called them.
Oh, that you could crank it up.
Yes,
And did you like to dance?
yes. I would play a waltz on the Victrola and dance with the broom.
And dance with the broom. So that's how you kind of learned to dance.
I had a
Maybe.
good garden.
Did you
I
get,
think I was born a dancer,
you think you were born a dancer? Why is that?
because I love to dance.
I know a friend of yours by the name of Vernon Schmidt, who is also a dancer. Do you ever recall seeing Vernon at a dance?
No, not really.
Okay. Did you go to school with Vernon?
Yes.
Okay. What was school like?
It was we were sitting in back of the room talking and we nearly got in trouble.
Uh-oh, what did you do? I can't see you getting into trouble. What did you do?
What did we do? We shut up right quick.
But what were you doing to get in trouble? Talking? So you weren't exactly that shy.
No.
All right, good. How many kids would you think were in the class when you were going to school?
In my class?
That you can remember?
No, I can't remember. 5 maybe.
Okay. And how did you get to school?
Most of the time, we lived right up on the hill from the school in the
Uh-huh.
country, so most of the time we walked.
Good weather, bad weather? Okay.
And then later, then when you went to Blanco, when you went to Blanco the last year or so, how did you go to Blanco to school?
It was a bus.
Oh, they had buses? I thought you drove a Model A or Model T to school.
She's thinking about her children rode a bus, but she stayed with Pearl's family part of the time, and you drove part of the time. Remember, you drove your car to school?
She could drive a Model A,
Uh-huh.
but she can't drive ever after.
Okay.
She
And you graduated from high school there, here in Blanco?
Yes, ma'am.
And I've heard that there's something that you keep on your hand, and I'm touching it. Would you show that to us? Is this your class ring?
Yes, ma'am.
Can we zero in on this?
And you put it up.
So this is a class ring from Blanco High School. In what year?
1980.
No,
Boy, you're young.
1930.
1930.
1930. Did you have a graduation ceremony?
Oh, I'm sure we did.
About how many do you remember were in the class?
I think we were 17.
17. If I showed you a picture of the school, would you remember it?
Oh, I think I would.
All right. Let me show you a picture. Does this look like it? That appears to be a much bigger group of people.
I guess.
Okay.
I can't remember the two stories.
Now, I can't either, but that was taken away.
One way was grammar school and another way was the higher ones.
All in one building.
Right.
Right.
I had heard that she had the most beautiful graduation dress that went all across the back seat of the car.
Really? We're going to show this picture. What year were you born?
1910.
1910. And
I don't know if I was born or not. In Johnson City, they had me stillborn.
on the records?
It's still that way. My daddy wouldn't change that. He said, I didn't make that mistake, but he changed it in Austin.
Really?
That's right, when she...
You can go there and check it out.
Yeah, when she went to get her Social Security, they had her listed as stillborn.
So on the records at the Johnson City Courthouse, you're listed as stillborn. But here today you sit at 99 years of age. You're definitely not stillborn. You're alive and kicking. Okay. And your full name is Elizabeth Barbara
Yeah.
Reba. Do you remember your parents' names?
Sophie and Joe,
What were they like?
they were good. My daddy was better to me than my mom.
Were you a daddy's girl? Most girls are. And do you recall the year that you got married?
I'm 34.
All right. And how many children did you have?
8, I think. Mary Frances, Wesley Joe, John L., Charles,
Twins, they,
Woody and Geraldine. Who'd I leave out?
Jackie
The two little ones, your babies.
Jackie.
and James,
Hmm?
and James. Jackie and James.
So a total of 8 children.
James you left out.
What?
James was the one you left out. The last one.
Oh,
So what we're going to do is I happen to have them here, and I'm going to name them all for you again, because I think it's important that their names get in here, don't you? Okay. You married Wesley Julius Deckard, January the 20th of 1934, and you had 8 children. Their names were Mary Frances, Wesley Joe, John L., Charles, and then you had twins, Gerald and Geraldine. And then you had Jacqueline and James. My dear, that's a lot of children. Now let's talk about you having them twins. Were the children born at home?
no,
The twins were born at the hospital. And where was the hospital at?
here in town.
Okay.
Courthouse, I guess.
I just happen to have another picture with me. Was this where the hospital was at?
Yeah, that was the courthouse. No, the old courthouse, and that was the hospital there.
Yeah, you would
Well,
remember.
the hospital was in the courthouse.
Yes, ma'am.
Right.
Let me show the picture of it. You know, because it's the most important building in town. When you had these twins, did you know you were having twins?
I always said I was, and the doctor always said no because I think he didn't want me to know.
Probably so.
But I knew that several times I felt 2 heads.
Uh-huh. And did you have a tough time bringing those 2 babies into the world?
Did Buddy.
Why was that?
Why?
Yes, ma'am. Why?
Well, you know, girls come quicker than boys.
I wonder why that is.
I don't know. That's just girls.
That's just girls.
That's
The doctor should have let me go home and come back and have him when he was due,
Right.
but he thought it could induce pain.
Labor.
Is that the right way to
So
say
you're
it?
doing fine. Induce the labor. Yes, ma'am.
But he couldn't.
Uh-huh.
So, when the way Wesley always said it, he always said, well, he just rolled that baby out of here.
Wow.
She had a hard time.
I've heard women say that when you have labor pains that, you know, you kind of tend to forget them. Is that a true statement?
I think you forget it.
Yeah. But not at the time.
No, not at the time.
And to have 8 children.
A lot of people had more. My cousin had 12.
Really? Before I get into what you raised on the farm to eat, I'm also wanting to introduce John L., who is one of Elizabeth's children, John L. Deckard, and
Mary Frances.
Mary Frances, 2 of her wonderful children that are sitting here with her today. What did you raise on the farm to eat? That you can remember?
When I was at home,
Mm-hmm.
corn for one thing,
Okay,
potatoes,
okay.
beans, potatoes, watermelons.
Did you can food?
Yes.
Okay.
If we had enough to can,
Can you remember the Depression?
yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
It seems like at the time I was working in San Antonio,
Yes, ma'am.
and I was making 50 cents a day,
Where were you working
and
at?
someone at the farm at home said that's all they made all week.
Really? Do you remember where you were working at in San Antonio?
What was their name?
The Judson candy.
What?
But the Judsons?
The Judsons, yes.
They're known for candy, aren't they?
Mhm.
What did you do there?
I was their maid.
You were their maid.
Their name.
Okay. So, when the
That was
Depression,
the easiest time of my life.
why is that?
Well, but in town, everything was easy.
What do you recall about the Depression?
I don't know.
Was it
Some people lost their farms.
people went hungry? Did people seem to panic?
Didn't some people lost their farms?
Hmm?
Some people lost their farms?
Right. But we didn't.
No.
Yes, and you said you gave all the money you made to your daddy.
Did what?
You always said you gave all the money that you made to your daddy.
Mm-hmm.
That was a good thing to do.
The people that I worked for, the reason I came home, they left town and moved to a ranch of her father's. And I had a few dollars when I came home. And my mother wanted me to give them to my daddy, but I wouldn't. I kept it. That's all I had.
You were going to hold on to that money.
She never forgave me for that. She thought I should have given it to him when I worked hard for it.
Well,
Rightfully so. Elizabeth, did you get to go to church often?
Well, like when?
As a young girl.
You know the church down at Twin Sisters?
Yes, ma'am.
A priest came out there once a month,
Once a month.
and we made sure we went.
And we're talking about, that's called St. Mary's at Twin Sisters, correct?
Is that what it's called?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
It's just a little building. Got wooden benches inside it, right? Where did you have your, and what religion are you? What faith?
Catholic.
Catholic, okay. Do you remember where you had your first communion at, or your confirmation?
At Honey Creek.
At Honey Creek. There was a
We
church
had
there.
communion one day and were confirmed the next.
Really? Wow.
And in my prayer book, I have a little reminder of that the sister gave me from your first communion.
Uh-huh. Were you required to go to any type of schooling before you had that happen, any sort of Catholic schooling?
We went down there a year, I guess.
You've been married twice?
Right.
Okay. What can you tell me about your second marriage? The second time you got married?
What do you want to know about it?
Well, who did you marry?
Henry Sorrell.
Okay. And did you have any children with him? Okay.
Tell her how many gates you had to open to get home.
Hmm?
How many gates you had to open to get home?
And when you married Henry, did you still live out in the country?
Yeah, way
Yeah.
Okay, how many gates did you have to open to get home?
I don't remember.
6, 7.
Too many. And somebody
Little gates.
said they crossed the river, I don't know how many times, that many rivers? I said, no, you crossed the same river that many times.
That many times. So when the river got high, when we got a lot of rain, you didn't get out, did you?
No, but that didn't happen often. I remember one time for sure.
What was that like?
Everybody was at home. Where was home? I don't remember. And they kept waiting for us. I don't know, that's so long.
What do you remember about the wars?
About what?
The wars, the service whenever we had the world wars? What
The
can you?
wars?
Yes, ma'am, the wars, the military, the wars.
I know my uncle was in World War I,
Okay. Who would that have been? Your uncle?
Herman Weber.
Herman Weber, okay.
He sent me a handkerchief from Germany. I still have it.
Really? And I think
And he said the only reason he didn't get killed was because he could talk German.
why was that? There's a story there, isn't there?
Mhm.
I think I've heard that he met up with a young German soldier, and the soldier was going to shoot him, and Herman started to speak German to him, and the young man didn't shoot him.
Right. Something like that.
Was German spoken in your home? Okay. I've heard another story about John L. here, that when he started school here in Blanco, he spoke German. Is that correct?
Yeah, see, that's when we quit talking German at home, because when I started school, I couldn't speak English.
Right.
Well, I thought y'all could. I was the one that couldn't, the oldest one, and they said, we'll start speaking English, and it made her parents mad. They didn't like that.
Like it, but I was,
I thought you could talk it pretty well.
well, not
You need
very.
to sit closer this way. I can't hear you.
Well, I was saying that when we went to school and couldn't speak English, then y'all said from now on we're going to talk English at home.
Right.
And your parents did not like that.
I know.
They wanted the German spoken.
Right.
Elizabeth, can you speak any German still?
You know, Evelyn Heckel, do you know her?
Yes.
She and I talk German to one another.
Okay. Can you say some German for me?
No.
Okay. What type of dominoes have you played?
Every kind there is, I guess.
What's your favorite?
42.
Would you call yourself a good domino player?
Sure.
What's the trick to being a good domino player?
Knowing when to bid and when not.
I bet you're hard to beat. Do you still play? Good. Keep your mind
I
active.
played yesterday.
You played yesterday. Well, good. What were some of the fun things that you and your family did at home?
We did at home.
Yep. Besides working.
We always played 42. I was playing 42 when I was knee high.
Really. Did you ever do any pitching of washers or horseshoes?
Yes.
Were you good at that?
I don't know.
Your brothers
I
were.
thought I was.
Okay. I understand that sounds like you've worked at many different places. You worked in San Antonio, but you also worked here in Blanco, didn't you? I believe you worked at the bowling alley.
No, I didn't work at the bowling alley.
Did you work in the, oh, I know where you worked. Okay. You worked at the livestock auction. And what did you do there?
Wash dishes, I guess.
You worked in the kitchen?
Yes.
Okay. Was that a very busy place?
Yes.
And that was held once a week?
Yes.
Okay. And where would people come from? All around
Where were?
to sell their livestock?
Mm-hmm.
One thing I wanted to ask you about was John L. that just left recently, there's a little bit of a story that goes with whenever John L. and Linda got married. The date that they got married. It was a very sad time for the country. Do you remember that?
It was what?
It was a sad time in the country. Do you recall that? Whenever John L. and Linda got married?
Some president got shot.
Yes. My understanding is they got married right after President Kennedy was killed.
And was it after or right, right at the time?
What was their wedding date? Was it September?
No, I thought it was in November.
Let's see,
I remember
November
Linda
maybe.
talking about it.
Maybe it was in November.
Linda said that she recalls, although how happy she was to be getting married, looking around the church and seeing how sad everybody looked because the president had just been killed.
Mm-hmm.
And that was at St. Ferdinand's here in Blanco.
Yeah.
Yes. And that is where you still have gone to church, is that correct?
That's right.
Did you ever do anything at the church? Did you teach Sunday school at any time?
I did.
Did you like it? How did you make the kids behave?
They were all good until I had 4 of the bigger ones. They wouldn't listen.
So what'd you do about it?
I just left them and went with the others.
Good.
They wouldn't listen.
As you've gone through the years of your life, and here you are at 99, what's the secret to getting to your age?
I don't know, just hanging on.
Did you ever smoke or drink?
No,
You never smoke or drink.
no ma'am.
I could never see you smoking or drinking. You're just too sweet for that. What do you think about Blanco now?
Oh, I think it's a great town.
Are you happy to see the way that it's grown?
Yes.
Okay. If you had a crystal ball and you could look down the road 20 years from now, could you tell me what you think Blanco might look like?
They can't have more stores in the room.
Well, right inside the town, right. But do you think the town will grow on the edges of the town?
I've heard a lot of times Blanco's going to grow into San Antonio.
How do you feel about that?
Okay, I guess.
In other words, it's just something that happens.
Yes.
I had asked you earlier a little bit about during the periods of the world. You mentioned World War I. What do you recall about World War II?
You had a brother.
Is that the one Charles was in?
The one your brother Oswald was in.
Oh, yes, my brother was in it.
Okay. Do you remember where did he serve at? Do you recall that?
No, he got wounded right away. That's all I remember.
Uh-huh. Do you have people in your family that you can recall that have lived to be as close to the age that you are? You can speak. Go
Oh,
ahead.
her mother. How about your mother lived to be very old? And your daddy also.
I guess both of my parents.
Do you remember their ages?
They both passed away at about age 96.
At age
One
96?
One was 3 years older than the other, and they died 3 years apart.
Really?
And they were in the nursing home only a very little time. They were at home all of their life, for the most part.
You know, my mother had a bad heart, and I was by her side when she died, and I still think, you know, her heart was bad, and I still think they let her bed drop, and I still think that's caused her to die.
Well,
So you were there with her? Were you with your father?
No. Where did he die? He died in, Martin was with him.
Do you know how many grandchildren you might have?
23.
Do you know how many great-grandchildren?
No, I never did count that.
We do know that there's one great-great-grandchild. Is that correct?
He's 13 months old.
Is that Connor?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about that?
I wish I could see him more often than I do. He came to see me yesterday and I wasn't here.
Oh. Well, let's hope you get to see him more often. Did you sew?
Did what?
Sew? Make things, dresses, clothes?
Not much. I did make some little rompers for Wesley Joe. That's about the only thing I ever sewed.
Oh, you patched all the time.
I didn't have time to sew.
Well, no, I wouldn't think you did with that many children. You were busy.
Her mother sewed a lot for us, and she was always patching the boys' pants. Right?
Right.
There was a movie theater at one time in Blanco, was there not? I think.
Yes, I think so.
Did you ever get to go?
We went one time, we saw Going My Way.
Really? I bet you enjoyed that.
That was great.
So, here you are, getting ready to turn 100. What do you think about that?
I don't know.
Just another day?
Just something that happened.
Well, we are lucky to have you at the age that you are. And I'm sure there's a whole lot more in your mind to tell us about history that we don't know. For example, I've heard people say that times were really hard back like when you were a younger girl. Do you think they were?
I guess.
Meaning, was it hard to make a living? Because you talked about just making like, what, 50 cents a day? But when you made 50 cents a day,
You could buy something with it.
Okay. Meaning everything now costs so much more money.
Mm-hmm.
So that 50 cents a day, did that seem like a lot of money to you?
Yes, ma'am. I guess.
I bet that it did. What do you remember about the livestock auction? Did you have fun there? Meet a lot of people?
I met a lot of people.
Did you ever get to watch the auction taking place, or you were too busy working?
No, we didn't get to watch anything.
Okay. Where was the livestock auction at?
Over there.
Over there being, if I'm not mistaken, up near the veterinarian's office? Dr. Barrett's?
What used to be the locker plant over that way.
Yeah. That way.
And there was a locker plant here in Blanco, wasn't there?
One time.
Did a lot of people come to it?
I guess a lot of people had. Why did you take their meat?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, ma'am.
And they would butcher your animals, and you had a locker box where you kept your meat frozen. And then when they went to town, they would go there and get meat for the week.
So it wasn't like going to the grocery store nowadays and picking up a steak.
No.
It was there. Did you ever shoot a deer?
No.
You weren't a deer hunter.
Never shot a gun.
I could never see you shooting a gun.
I killed an armadillo one time with a rock. I was just going to scare him.
And you killed him?
I killed him.
Well, that means you're a good aim.
But I didn't want to kill him. I just wanted to scare him.
Have you enjoyed living in Blanco?
Yes.
You know, something she did up until about 3 years ago, she did Meals on Wheels, fix the plates that were delivered. And
You did?
She did that up until, how long was it since you worked with the Meals on Wheels? It was 2 or 3 years ago that you quit.
Which would have put you about, what, 96?
How come I quit working
And
with
that's
her?
about when you quit bowling too.
Are you a good bowler?
I thought I was.
And that means you bowl up here.
John L's gone, you need to ask him
Oh,
that.
you know you were, and when she, what do you call it? I never have bowled, but when you made a strike, the whole bowling alley would clap.
For whenever you make a strike? And that's the type of bowling they have at the bowling alley, which is the 9 pin? Is that right? That's where we have the kids that are sitting down there, and once you knock all the pins down, the kids crawl down and put the pins back up?
And her boys all did that. They worked there when they were.
Really? And John L. has had a lot of involvement with the bowling alley for a long time, hadn't he, the cafe?
Yes, ma'am, yes.
Still now.
So you have a picture in your hand. What is that picture of? Do you remember?
I remember it's Doris Height, and I went with their family somewhere, but I don't remember where we went.
And you are dressed in the dark dress? Very pretty, by the way. You're very pretty. Elizabeth, how old do you want to be?
I don't know. Guess I'll live till I die.
Well, I saw you here about, seems like about 8 months ago, and sadly we were at a funeral, and you made a comment to me. You said, why is everybody dying? And I'm still here. And I told you, well, I guess the good Lord's just not finished with you yet.
Yeah, younger people were dying, and I was wishing it was me.
Why?
Well, they had more to live for than I did. I don't know why.
But you have so much to offer. Just being around you, it's a pleasure.
Thank you.
Is there anything that you could, I don't know, three pieces of it, 3 words of advice or 3 things to say how to live your life? What would you say? A good way to live your life.
Don't hurry, don't worry, take it easy.
Don't hurry.
Don't worry,
Don't worry.
take it easy.
Take it easy.
I don't know if you ever took it easy, but
No better words spoken. Well, Elizabeth, it's been a pleasure to
Thank
interview
you.
you.
It's been a pleasure having you here.
I've known you for many years, and it's a joy to get to talk to you.
Thank you.
And I expect to see you past 100 years of age.
You coming to my party?
Yes, ma'am, I'm coming to your birthday party. You excited about that?
Yes.
All right. Well, we thank you for allowing us into your home,
I was glad to have you.
and we thank you most importantly for being a part of Blanco.
Thank you.
well, when Elizabeth was 90, her grandson Michael Claypeg interviewed her for a school project, and this is what he wrote. From horses and buggies to men on the moon, reading by candlelight and sending email. That's what you would have seen if you had been alive 90 years like my great-grandmother, Elizabeth Deckert. Most people in Blanco knew her as Gran. Gran was born on December 3rd, 1910 in Blanco County in the Live Oak community near Blanco. When she was born, most families didn't have cars, but she can remember when her dad was one of the few people that had a car. She went to the country school at Live Oak for grades 1 through 8. She went to Blanco High School for grades 9 through 11. She played basketball and volleyball in high school. At that time, you graduated after the 11th grade. A few months ago, Gran went to her high school reunion. She received a plaque for being the oldest graduate there. When Gran was young, her brothers were always out hunting or trapping. The family would have lots of meals of deer meat during hunting season. They would also make sausage and jerky to eat later. The boys would trap raccoons, fox, and ringtails. They would skin them and sell the hides. The girls in the family would stay home and help their mom bake and wash clothes. This was quite a job with no electricity. The baking and cooking were done with a wood stove, and water had to be heated outside for washing clothes. Another thing she did with her mom was home canning. Since there were no refrigerators or freezers, people would can food to keep it from spoiling. This allowed them to eat vegetables during the winter. She would often help her mom make soap out of lye, water, and hog lard. We're going to make lye soap in science class to study chemical reactions. I wonder if Gran knew that she was causing a chemical reaction when she made soap. She didn't like to hunt or trap, but the family went fishing. But when the family went fishing, she would always catch the biggest fish. After a hard day working, the kids would usually go down to the river to take a bath. During the winter, they would take baths in a tub of water by the wood-burning stove. The kids would go down to the river to get water for their baths. She had a pet cat, and at night it would always sleep in her window. It was on the outside of the house. Her first job was working at a country store. It was called Flugrass Store. The building is still there, but the store is not open. She got paid 50 cents a day and was very proud of having a job and making her own money. When Gran graduated, she was able to get a job in San Antonio. She worked for the Judson family as a nanny. The family owned the Judson Candy Factory. I asked if she got paid in candy, but she was paid $5 a week and all of her expenses were paid. This was a great salary for that time period, especially for a woman. This was during the Great Depression when many Americans did not have jobs. Gran got married when she was 24 years old. Her husband's name was Wesley Deckert. They raised 8 children. All but one is still living. Her oldest child is my grandmother. Gran said that her sons also like to hunt and fish just like her brothers. Maybe that is why I like to hunt and fish too. My mom is one of Gran's 23 grandchildren. I am one of Gran's 34 great-grandchildren. Can you imagine when we all get together for Christmas? Gran does not like the idea of the United States going to war again. She knows of many men that did not come back after they left to go fight in the war. She had an uncle in World War I, a brother in World War II, and her son was in the Korean War. They did return to the United States safely. She hopes that she will not see any more of her relatives go to war. Gran is now a healthy, active 90-year-old woman. She has a job at the Senior Citizen Center serving Meals on Wheels to other citizens. She bowls once a week, and I'm sure she is the oldest bowler in Blanco County. Last week while bowling, Gran threw a 12-ringer, and with her next ball she threw a 9-ringer. Everyone in the bowling alley stood up and cheered. When not working or bowling, Gran likes to read or watch Jeopardy and Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. When Gran was 88, she left the state of Texas for the first time. She went to Colorado with her daughter-in-law. She was very excited about this trip and had a very good time. As you can see, Elizabeth Deckert Sorrell has had a very interesting life. I hope when I'm 90 years old I will be as happy and healthy as she is. I hope I can still bowl too. By the way, Gran wants everyone to know that on December 3rd she will be 91. December 3rd she'll be 100 now.